You're watching The Mic Check, on every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Hello and welcome everyone to this week's Mic Check. Today we have with us a special guest, Alyson Steel. Now, Alyson is a graduate from the famed High School of Performing Arts in New York City. She received her BA from Queens College while doing recurring work on the soap opera Another World and doing on-camera commercials such as Burger King and other national regional spots. Alyson decided to go back to school, and after graduating with her MFA in dramaturgy from sunny Stony Brook, she moved to Los Angeles and began doing extensive voiceover work. Her voice has been described as having a lot of range, being able to go from sounding like a teenager to a woman in her 40s. Other descriptions include warm, sexy, smooth, hot, hip, retail, sultry, raspy, professional, fun, girl next door, conversational, upbeat, friendly, teen and mom, hard sell and soft sell. Impersonations she can do include an uncanny Fran Drescher as the nanny, and many others. Accents include New York, British, Italian, French, and light Southern. Alyson can be heard on various national and regional commercial campaigns for TV and radio, including Pajamagram, Vermont Teddy Bear, Lifestyle Lift, ITT Technical Institute, Sears, Walmart, Volvo, and Pandora stations. You can hear her image top radio stations across the country, as well as Rick D's syndicated countdown show, and currently imaging Flashback with Matt Pinfield, the new Doug Frazier podcast, AJ Barrera podcast, and David Tutera's newest podcast. She has done promos for E!, Fox, ABC and Hallmark Channel, TVG Network, and is currently on Universal Sports Network, Outside TV, and ID Discovery. For over 5 years in a row, she was the live announcer for the Genesis Awards. Alyson has also narrated several TV shows, including Style Star on the Style and E! networks, Homemade Simple on TLC, Food Network shows, the DIY Network, and among countless other narrations. Living in LA, Alyson also auditions for on-camera commercials as well as voiceover, and enjoys working in front of the camera when she gets the opportunity. She has twins that keep her busy besides working as a full-time voiceover artist and actor, and practices Ashtanga yoga at least 5 days a week. And she's here with us to share some of her expertise that she's learned over her time in the industry. So, Alyson, the time is yours.
Take it away. Yeah, it's such an one of my favorite impressions is Fran. Yeah. Thank you. Old resume I put up. I apologize. Wait, I'm backlit. Let me turn that down. Anybody in LA? It's sunny here today. Yay. All right, maybe that'll help.
No, that's the wrong. Well, maybe.
It didn't, but that's okay. It's gonna annoy me. I know. I can't even, it's just gonna disturb me to see my. So, usually the way I run these things is kind of like that's why I asked what you all are, where you're at, so that I can get an idea of how to run the show. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I don't even go in with an agenda anymore, because it depends where everybody is and what everybody kind of wants to derive out of the information that I can give them. And I just got off a question and answer session that me and this woman, Carrie Olson, do once a month. And it was all about why get a voiceover coach. And, again, we'll do like questions and answers at the end. So I'll always leave time for, at least 15 minutes for questions and answers. I think that's an important, because you have me at your disposal. You might as well ask as many questions as you want, unless you wanted to run. So there's so many different ways to run this. A lot of you are obviously full-time, so it just, it's hard to sometimes navigate like really newcomers and not newcomers. But it sounds like a lot of you have been on this train for a really long time, wanting to get, full-time. And I would say like the biggest thing, like if a newcomer came to me nowadays, and I spoke about this with a friend of mine, and we're like, what would you tell them? It's a shitload of marketing. Pardon my French. I do curse a lot. That's what my kids are going to say when I die at my funeral. She cursed a ton. That was her biggest bad thing. So it's true. I have a mouth like a sailor. But it is. You have to be willing to get on there, especially the people with all their demos already made, and do a ton of marketing. Like whoever's out there working, somebody said they were working at this for 5 hours a day. then there's something going on with your demo. Like, I'm just going to be totally straightforward. There's something going on with your demos that's not working. If you're doing that much marketing and you're not getting any love out of it, either the way that you're marketing yourself, or your demos aren't up to par, or your website isn't up to par. Like, I would say, like, these things are great, like having a session with, everybody getting together and then having a group, somebody come in and coach you. And like I said, the last thing I just taught was, why get a coach? Get somebody, like somebody was telling me I worked with Dave Walsh, this and that. I still get coached by, for more trailer and promo type stuff. But I think it's really important to have a one-on-one coach if you're not established to where you want to be, particularly, i.e. full-time, because you're going to just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And it's like, that's not really going to lead you anywhere, which is kind of harsh. It's the harsh reality, but I'm here to give that to you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think it would be unfair for me to come on here and be like, oh, that's really great. Like, my goal is to get my students, working, not necessarily even agents anymore, but working, which I think is, huge. I think the question is do you want to, some people want to get more video game work. My expertise, I've done video games. It's not where I go usually, because it blows out your voice so easily. You do 4 hours and you're done. So there's a few ways that I could run this. Also, I'm going to talk a little bit about accents. A few of you have hard Southern accents. I hope you're able to pull out the accent when needed. Otherwise, you're going to pigeonhole yourself. An accent is wonderful and all that stuff, but you have to be able to pull out the accent. Otherwise, you're only going to be able to work in that part of the country. Like, somebody has the Southern accent, and I didn't notate who, but heavy Southern, you want to be able to pull back the accent. So when I get a new student and they have an accent, that's like the first thing I do, because I do accent reduction as well. As I'm like, let's talk about your accent, because I used to wait, but that would be unfair again to the student. So the most important thing is, being able to pull that out if you have an accent. And again, having a coach to be able to like handhold you along the way to why you aren't working to where you need to be is to have some real direction and be able to trust somebody to take you on that journey is huge. Let's see. So I was supposed to say, I just wanted to see you again, because I wanted to see you before I said, this is okay. Russ, you were the one with the accent, right?
If you say so. Sometimes I have it, sometimes I don't. It just depends.
All right, cool. Okay, this is going to be for, I'll start. So I'd like to be able to like just jump right in, and whoever, who was John Knowles. Are you on that list? Oh, good. Okay, so this is for you. Take a look at it.
Yes, ma'am.
And again, feel free, obviously, to print it out and that sort of thing, and mark it up and blah blah blah. Let's see, Russ. I want to see what I have on you. Can't I wish I could listen to your demo. Can I hear you talk again, Russ?
Sure, or you can listen to my demo.
Okay, got it. No, I'm good. This is for you. Hang on, where's the chat window? Okay. Janet. Oh, I have a good one for you.
God.
You're gonna hate me. It's okay.
The feeling I am.
Okay, it's either that or hang on.
Can you put
it's totally not in your, I know. You're gonna, yeah.
Can you put a space in between them?
Is there a space? There should be a space.
They're kind of
all kind of running together in the chat window.
What are you talking about? Wait, what?
Are they really?
Yeah.
It should say from me to everyone.
Or maybe a dashed line would do too.
Oh, okay.
They just keep coming.
3 dashes.
How's that?
Works.
Something like that. All right, we'll try again.
What's wrong with it? I don't see what's wrong.
Some people, well, I guess it's hard for some. Okay. Hang on, Janet, Patrick. Okay.
When you make it, when you reach the top, Join an exclusive country club.
But put yourself on mute so that everybody else
Fill a
is
garage.
like.
Engage in investment. Be a venture
Hey, Russ.
Mute up for us.
Hey,
Russ.
Russ, you're
Russ.
not muted.
Mute up. There it goes.
Russ,
Sorry,
mute
sorry.
yourself.
I'm just trying to figure out where it ends.
Or go deep with the accent.
Let me see. So who did I met? Russ, did I do Patrick yet?
No.
Patrick, I want to see you so I know where I am. Hang on. Is he not here? Oh wait, I know he's here.
Who?
Patrick. Okay, wait.
Yeah,
I want
he's
to hear
here.
what you
Here.
sounded like.
With
Okay,
the
cool.
lobster lights in the back.
Okay, cool. Hang on.
I hate this lighting. Oh my God, I look terrible. I hate
Wants
it.
to see me. There's a reason I don't go in front of the camera.
You're so funny.
Janet, you can
That's
try
for
my
you.
lighting instead.
Oh, Patrick, please.
Not according to my
Oh
mother.
my God. Is he crazy? Come on.
John, who I already gave. Leonard. Hang on. Let's see. No. Hang on. All right, this is Leonard. And the other one was Patrick. Did I miss anybody? John Stafford.
You didn't hit send on mine.
I didn't.
Unless which one's is
Oh, I didn't.
Leonard's
Oh,
IPA?
today we brew I would do the today we brew our IPAs. Either one will work, so hang on.
I used to
You know
drink.
what? I'm gonna switch that. Hang on a second.
I'm missing an action.
Doing the IPA?
Yes.
Yes.
Who's doing the IPA? Hang on. I can't do here. This is for
In Portland, of course you do an IPA, Leonard.
Not me. I don't even drink beer. They're
that's
gonna kick
for
me out of here.
Patrick, the one that I just put.
The first moment.
Yes. And then Tim Evans. Oh, do we have Tim here? Am I confused?
He
Tim
does
is
not
not
seem
here.
to be here now.
Okay.
I'm
So
available.
I think I hit everybody. Did I hit everybody? If I didn't,
Joe?
okay. Hang on. Devon. I just want everybody to have something, and if so that I can, because I have a funny feeling that I'll.
Yeah, in that email, the first 6 names that I sent you are the.
Yes. So I think I hit everybody on that email, correct?
I believe so.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, you haven't.
I still don't have anything.
Oh.
Joe Thomas.
Okay, cool. Hang on.
Uh-huh.
Wait, what email? What did I miss?
It's okay. It's just conversation between Alyson and I.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. That.
Okay.
So
Got
that should be everybody who was on that. And then if we have time, we'll go, which we should actually. Can everybody and you could just shout it out to me all at the same time. What have you learned in terms of practicing and rehearsing copy?
It doesn't get you anywhere if you don't have marketing.
But when you get a piece of copy, what's kind of the first things that you guys do just to get so I get an idea of what you're actually doing?
Well, I read it through one time. I might again read it through 2 times.
Okay.
And then
out loud.
Sometimes out loud, sometimes in my brain, but yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
And then I, do the audition and I listen and sometimes I go, oh man.
Okay.
So I do it one more time and I think I get the inflections pretty good, but
gotcha. Who else? So just throw it at me, whoever so I don't know.
I try to get it, what they're trying to get across. If it's a joke or if it's, I'll read it and then I'll go, oh, that's wrong. And then I can correct it. If I didn't quite get the emphasis right or something, and it didn't make sense. If it didn't make sense, I can go back and say, okay, let's change that up a little bit. Oh, now it makes sense. Things
Got
like
it.
that. And then also add some humanism to it, with a or ah, or, just something to make it exciting. somewhere.
Okay. And do you rehearse it out loud?
Yeah, I do. I rehearse it aloud at least 2 or 3 times, and then record it, and then that's almost a rehearsal too. Just listening back. So it's kind of,
Gotcha.
I'm
Who
looking for
else?
something different.
I usually just jump in and record it and then go back and do it a second time. And then if I have another idea about a completely different take, I'll do a second take. And if the first take was choppy, I'll just delete that one, send 1 or 2 takes in.
Okay, cool.
Joe's a pro.
Yeah, he's been doing, so I'm kind of distinguishing who's doing this full time. Who else?
I'm going to figure out the Dave Walsh method for doing this. I'm going to read it, figure out what it's about, figure out whether I'm the right person to tell the story, break down the essence of it, and then start putting together the scenario in my mind, who I'm telling the story to, or whoever I decide is telling the story, and then kind of all the scene around it, and then put
Out loud too?
The first time I read it, I'll read it out loud, and then
that's okay. So you're doing everything internally otherwise.
Well, I'm doing it pen and paper, and then I'm gonna break pencil and paper. Then I'm
Got it. Okay.
and then I'm gonna do it.
Who else? Janet. Oh,
What?
you did already. You did already. Who else? How about Devin? Devin.
I usually take the script and just read it through just silently, then a couple times out loud, and then I start breaking it down into beats, figure out the who, what, when, where, why. I like to give myself a line before. Who am I? Who am I speaking to? What's my motivation? I come from theater, so I guess I kind of mix some of that in.
Oh, that's great, because that's my language. I get it. Yes. How about you, John?
Okay.
Richard.
I try to find if there's an underlying emotion that needs to be hit. And then, of course, the who, what, when, why, that sort of thing. Do several takes until what feels right comes out.
Okay, cool. Richard.
I'm working on the emotions part of it. I usually always read it out loud, and I may record it when I do that the first couple times to hear what it sounds like, what I thought I sounded like in my head, and what actually comes out might be different, to make sure that that's correct. Who I'm speaking to, where you're at. Are you speaking to a group, a person? I'm like Devin. I'm a theater person. I've done about 40 stage productions.
Gotcha. I can tell by that. Yes.
Try to figure out, when you're used to doing characters that you could tweak and make better over a 5 or 6 week rehearsal period, you don't have that with a script.
Got it.
So that's where I'm at now, is trying to take all of that knowledge and move it into a quicker version of getting it done.
Nathan, did we hit you already?
No.
Or Patrick? Yes. Go ahead.
Well, I'm very improvisational with the way I work. So a lot of times I'll kind of thread that into how I do what I do, like when I was doing animation, and I like to just sink my head right into the scene that I'm in. I mean, with promo work, it's a little bit more rigid, but a little less scene stuff. But especially when you have to do something in under 30 seconds and it's a huge piece of copy.
Does anybody else have any tips, tricks, or what they do to rehearse? Okay. So here's the thing, I'm going to throw a lot of this is so that you can go home and go, oh, I have almost like a rubric to follow. And so the way I teach is much of what the theater people are here. I took a lot of my theater training and I made a kind of a way to, my third lesson, or when I teach how to break down copy, is all about deconstructing it in order to instruct it, and working on a very psychological level. Now, a lot of the things that I'm going to say you'll have heard before, because we all the coaches basically speak the same language, and if they're giving you any information, it's going to be a lot of this that you've heard. But there is methodology, and of course, Mike, jump in if there's anything that you've heard that you're like, no, wait, I also do this. So but again, it's so that you can so that you can go home and start breaking down copy and not feel as though you're throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks. You should be able to, you know, within, and I'm just going to open my lesson here of 3 just so I can follow what I am, is so that you can go, oh, okay, if I break it down this way, then I know that by the 4th or 5th read out of my mouth, that's going to be the one. So much of this stuff, first of all, most teachers will say, not all, but I want to say 80% of teachers will say, get the read out of your mouth at least 4 times, 3 to 4 times. Your 4th or 5th read will be the read. If you have to do it more than that, you're down a wrong path. It's just kind of like, you might need to just kind of hit the reset button and start again. But if you're just reading it to read it and kind of see where it's going, that will work sometimes, but I don't know if it's going to always work, especially if you're not seasoned. But then I have a friend who never rehearses, and there are times when I don't either, because if you've been doing this for long enough, you just start to like, it becomes automatic. But getting it out of your mouth 3, 4 times, especially as somebody new, is gonna, first of all, your mouth is a muscle. So if you're just doing it by not talking out loud, it's gonna come out different in your head than it is in your mouth. Because it's a muscle. So you have to kind of get used to speaking out loud. Like if I was all of a sudden speaking like this, and then I'm like just not moving my mouth, and then all of a sudden I'm moving my mouth, it's going to feel different in my mouth. It's going to feel different in the read, and the read's going to be weird. So you want to rehearse at full volume of where you're going to be. The second thing is well, and again, there's no particular order. Okay. Reading the last line first. So that's a huge one, because that's called your destination line. So on any good piece of copy, your first line and your last line are your most important. The rest is just a circle on how we got there. It's like a piece of Shakespeare. Your first 2 and your last 2 lines in any Shakespearean monologue are what the monologue is about, and the rest is all the flowery stuff in between. Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? You know, and for that name, which is no part of thee, take all myself. The first 2 lines, the last 2 lines, the rest is like, oh, you know, please, you know, I want you, a rose by any other name, blah, blah, blah. But it's really the first 2 lines. Same thing in a commercial. The first line and the last line are your most important lines. You don't want to start the commercial with and end like that. It's such a big juxtaposition. For example, like in a piece of copy that has like, I always bring up the cancer copy, you know, does your son or daughter suffer from cancer? And it's like, dun, dun, dun. And by the end, you're like, but bring him to St. Joe's. So you don't want to have that like complete 180 unless it's an infomercial. So I definitely put infomercials in its own category because they actually want you to do that. But you do want to, if the last line is, so bring him to St. Joe's and all your, you know, troubles are, you want to start with the last line. But what is the last line? Again, your destination. What does it have in it? Hopefulness, inspiration, you know, a feeling of, mostly it's going to be hope and inspiration and that sort of like feeling. You want to start your copy with the feeling of the last line. So if I can impart anything from you to you today, that's going to help a whole heck of a lot. Let me get another piece of paper so I can. And again, this is, you know, for breaking down copy, I think that it's imperative so that I can leave you without, you know, something and not just direct you, because that's not going to, it's not going to ultimately help you along the way. Does that make sense? You should be able to, the other thing that very much with whom I study with and all that, I teach on a very psychological level. You know, there's all a reason that you're here, want to do voiceover. You've been pursuing it for this long, but you also haven't, some of you, gotten to the point where it's very psychological. It's going to change your life by just studying voiceover. So being able to know what the copywriters, and I'll say they, right? The directors, the copywriters, because they're sitting there writing the copy. Some of them are going to write the copy in a way that sounds like it's for print because they don't know how to write for TV or radio or YouTube, and it's very different. You have to be able to take the punctuation that they do and either change it or read with it if it's correct, you know, if it's quote unquote correct. And you should know how to break down punctuation. And I won't go through my whole spiel about this because it could take 10 or 15 minutes unless you really want me to. But again, it's to break everything down, to break it up. You want to be able to, in terms of taking direction, landing on your periods so it doesn't sound sing-songy, because when you land on a period, it goes down in your voice. If you're in a comma, it goes up in your voice, for example, right? If you have a question mark, it could go either way, really. Now I just went up on a period, which makes me sound like a teenager. So teenager, down. But a question like, how are you is going to go up as opposed to how are you, which is down. And that, it's kind of like, what the hell? Now, 50-50 chance I'll go down when it's a question, because it makes it stronger. So you can do it both ways. If you have a second read, if you're doing 2 reads, of course, it's not going to always work, but sometimes make your questions a period so that you can feel as though that it's makes it a stronger read. With exclamation points, it's also the same type of thing. It's like, buy it now. And there's an exclamation point, right? Much of the time they want to hear, yeah, but we don't want you to go up. And my director's thinking they mean up in your voice. So again, it took me years to decipher this and, impart it to people. So I do find it very helpful again. So instead of always going like, buy it now, you might be like, buy it now. And go, I'm like, oh, okay, they really want a period, but they want it with urgency and enthusiasm. So be able to take your exclamation points and your question marks and know, should I go up or should I go down, and maybe a little of both. But if you're doing like a 3 in a row with an exclamation point, make sure, for God's sakes, don't always exclaim it. Go down on your exclamation point, but with the same urgency and enthusiasm of an exclamation. What else? Again, commas might go up. If we're talking about quotation marks when you're in your workspace, literally, you're all old enough to probably know, except for one of you, do a Steve Martin. You got to do one of these. You got to give me the quotations and quotes. Mary said, are you freaking kidding me? Is going to sound different. Literally, when I will put my hands up, then going, are you freaking kidding me? Without it, it's a whole different ball game. So when you see quotation marks, use your fingers and hands and get up there in it and do that. I urge you, if you're also not, stand up when you read. If you're sitting, don't. Only people who should be sitting is for long form, for like audiobooks, long form narration, GPS type systems or Siri type systems. You definitely want to be sitting for those. And then unless you're like forced to sit for some reason, or if you're pregnant and then you're like tired and you're trying to contain your energy. But just to, again, go over this in case you either want to start on a Superman stance with your, hip distance apart, hands on your waist, and then you can start moving any way you want. You just can't move your face, right? And you always want to be about this far from the mic, give or take. Quieter reads, you could get in more, a little louder, you go back, but on an average read, you're this far, so I'll always go in. I'm doing one of those just to see where I am. You do not want to cross your arms in front, cross your arms in back, put your hands in your pockets. So you want to definitely start out with in a stance like this, and or one foot in front of the other, because that will give you momentum. Dress for your VO success, so that you're dressed in a way that's comfortable yet not, lady, this is more for the 2 women. Don't wear the stuff that's like, well, I'll wear it. I feel like shit, but I'll wear it anyway. Don't do that. Because it'll make you feel horrible, and your actors say that I'm assuming that you learned that in class somewhere along the way. Again, I'm hodgepodging this together because I want to just leave you with a bunch of stuff before you go to get to read. Okay, and again, the who, what, when, where, why, absolutely. But I'm going to break it down even further. Is it for radio or is it for TV? That will also give you a place of like, well, what am I reading this for? Much of the time, radio goes a lot faster, as you know. TV relies mostly on visuals. YouTube, that sort of thing, different reads. And again, I'm only concentrating on commercial. Who is it for? Is it playing in New York, or is it playing in Idaho, or is it playing in, Alabama? It's going to have a little bit of a different feel. So you should kind of inform yourself. Where is this? What's it for? Who is it for? Who am I reading for? But be specific. I always tell people, see it and then say it. So if you have a lot of things that you're there's a piece of copy in front of me, meet Dennis. In my mind, I'm already making up what is Dennis, what he looks like, who am I talking to? It's always going to be, nowadays, conversational. They want conversational. That's just the way it is. They might not direct you as conversationally anymore, but that's what they're going to look for in the audition. So you're like, oh, I'm being all conversational, and then they're directing me completely not. That's because, in all honesty, if you start listening, which I urge you to do, listen to radio, listen to TV, there's going to be it's not going to sell all the time to just give you that, like, what the heck read. Like, oh yeah, meet Dennis. Dennis likes that. It doesn't always sell. So that they're going to direct you in a less conversational way potentially, but it's your job to make that come to life in a conversational way. So again, but see it and then say it. So, again, the theater people have a little bit a leg up on you because they already are imagining things, and they know, don't say anything unless you see it in your mind's eye. So that's what your job is going to be, that as you read, you're imagining what you're saying, just like we would in real life. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm talking to 10 people. This is this is how I talk to 10 people. But if I'm sitting in my living room and I'm just talking to one person, depending on who it is, it's going to come out way differently. Am I talking to my kids? Am I talking to one kid? Am I talking to my friend? Which friend? So it's going to be very different. Don't talk in general. In general is the enemy of all art. You do not want to do that, because then it's just going to come out in a general way. So
what's an example of that? What do you mean by in general? What do you mean?
Stanislavski, right, Devin? Yeah. So in general, if you're talking in general, like if I'm reading that Meet Dennis, Grubhub, and I'm just generally speaking and trying to make it sound nice, you have to talk to one person. Who am I talking to? Well, it's going to be somebody who kind of is into Grubhub. And if it's not, I change it and I kind of in my mind go, well, let's say I'm not into Grubhub, then I'm going to think about it as whatever, DoorDash or whatever it is. But I'm talking to one person, my friend Sohaila. We're sitting at the table, whatever, drinking some coffee, Chardonnay or water, and we're hanging out, but I am only speaking to her. So don't speak generally to anybody. It'll change your attitude and not win you the job. They're buying your attitude, ultimately, is what they're buying. So if I'm sitting there going, where am I? Am I hanging out at a Starbucks and we're just kind of hanging out talking? It's going to make me lower my voice and I'm not going to talk as loud and I'm going to talk like this, as opposed to what I'm doing now, which is a little bit more presentational. So you want to be general, specific. Nothing should go unturned that's not very clear and specific. The other thing would be underlining your important words. That's a pretty obvious, like nobody really gave it any love, but it does help to use a pen and pencil and not read it off your iPad. If you're not, I had teachers tell me, my coaches were like, if you're not making $100,000 yet, then you need to mark your copy. And I was like, all right. And then eventually I stopped marking my copy, but I still mark it sometimes. You just have to mark your copy in order to, be able to, but I urge you to mark your copy, underline important words, rainbow the name of the product so that you have a little bit of, and by rainbow, I mean, whatever, Grub Hub or whatever it's called. So these two things would be like those little, little hesitation signs, but I call it rainbowing because if I actually put those two things together, it would look like a rainbow. But that's going to be like kind of hard to look at on a piece of copy that's a 12 or a 14 font. So I'm going to go, oh, okay, I'm just going to put the little hesitation points. And again, I use a little sign, like literally like that, to say, take a beat. In each piece of copy, you're going to have different ideas. Now, granted, on a 15 or even a 30 might only have 3 ideas in the entire piece of copy. So something like, I'll just try to find something that's a little easier. Okay, so the Pampers one in the chat window, from the first moment you met, it was love at first touch. That's the first idea. After, and it will always be the first sentence, your first idea. After that period, I make a big line, and that means I'm changing direction. So first idea, from the first moment you met, it was love at first touch, period. New idea. And all you wanted to do was surround them in comfort and protection. That's why only Pampers. Okay, so again, actor's choice, make a choice. Is it still the same idea after the first, or is it another? A lot of the times, because it's a 15 or a 30, it's going to be new ideas on almost every line. So the new idea, all you wanted to do was surround them in comfort and protection. That's why only Pampers, we just made another short stop. So a left turn. So that's another, after the word protection, you might put a big stop, I call it a stop sign or whatever you want, like that, one of those giant lines. That's why only Pampers Swaddlers is the #1 choice of hospitals to wrap your baby in blanket light softness. You could still stay on the same zone there, I guess. Okay. So that is all they feel, that all they feel is love. And then before the last line, which is your destination, you put another big stop sign. And if you need to remind yourself, circle it at the last line and write destination, which I did for years because I was one of those weird graduate students when I started to do this. So you'd have about 3 or 4 different ideas. To drive the point further, and I'm not going to pull out my little, but it's like going into a grocery store. You go into a grocery store and you hit the vegetable and fruit aisle. Well, if you're in the vegetable and fruit aisle, that's your first idea. You're going to be like apples, and then you'll have like a little hesitation sign, bananas with another hesitation sign, and then finally like whatever, asparagus. Those are hesitation signs until we get to the main idea for the next, we're making a hard left into dairy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that'll give you the idea of where are you going in your mind, so you don't have to keep everything here. You want it all on the page. Kind of like you don't look off the page, you always are on the page. Mm-hmm. So that's the same thing. You know in your mind, oh, I'm making a sharp left and starting a new idea, especially when the copy's going fast. Sometimes it's nice to have a nice hard line to tell you, new idea, make a, sharp, you're changing thoughts. Repeated words, look for them because they're in there for a reason. If you keep saying the word soft, 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 well, there's something in the copy that obviously might inform how you speak. It might be a little softer because the word soft is always there. So do you have to underline it or circle it? No, but maybe mentally note it. I sometimes circle it lightly just to kind of remind myself, kind of like over Christmas. There's a lot of, on the holiday season, it's a lot of, warm, love, sparkly, so you're going to see those, like the repeated words in those things a lot. And so you want to just kind of, again, make a mental note because that's the feeling that they want to put towards the crowd. That's for so I'll use the words of Carrie, who can, unperforming. You just want to step back, don't perform at some point. Unannouncer is another one. And again, see it and then say it. And again, an easier way to read, because you don't want to sound like you're reading the words on the page, is you have to kind of be a few steps ahead. And that you get by almost going once upon a time, because when you read to a kid, you're always a few steps ahead, or a few words ahead, so that you can visualize it in your mind and tell the kid, because that's how storytelling is told, right? If you see it, they see it. So it's literally the same thing in a piece of copy. If you're not seeing it, then you're just lying to your listeners in a sense, and you, as actors, you want to tell the truth. You want to, So after all that is said and done, then what else are you thinking of? Is there music in the background? What kind of music might there be in the background? If you don't know, then make it up. Specs. It will tell you in the specs. Is it TV usually? Is it TV? Is it radio? Is it broadcast, non-broadcast? But we'll talk about broadcast since it's commercial. Sometimes they'll have voiceover range, like voice range, 30 to 50. Well, that doesn't give me a lot to go on, but because we are, again, going from a psychological, you're going to go younger. Younger is always going to win nowadays. I don't want to say always, but a lot of the time. So if I'm trying to place my voice, I'm going to go, I know. I'm going to pitch a little bit young, up in my upper registers. I might not be down here. And if I am, I'm going to add like the millennial kind of sound. I'll add that like a little bit of, not vocal fry, because that was only in for like 2 seconds, but just a little more attitude that's a little younger. Or I might pitch it up a little bit. So when they say the age range, that's just to give you an idea of what they're looking for possibly. sound effects, music. Are you playing up against anybody? Yeah, you have to trust yourself. So it's going to be, you know, the performance and the message of the copy needs to be neck and neck. Take your time. Yes, it might have to go fast, but you don't want to rush. So I'm telling you two things at the same time. It's like, well, you have to get it in 30. Yes, but you also don't want to sound rushed. So that's, I know it's a total oxymoron, but don't work with headphones. I don't know how many of you do, but don't. It's going to just put you in the land of criticizing yourself. So when you do your auditions, I never, ever use headphones, ever, unless I'm being in a directed session, then I use them. It's just because if you literally go like this, you're thinking 2 steps back. So better to learn how to focus on what you're doing. And then when you put your headphones on and you're taking direction, you're so in where you are that you don't, so don't use headphones. It will literally take you into, obviously here you have to, but it will take you into the land of like, oh my God, what, you know, what am I doing? Why did I sound like that? What did I just say? So then you're in the past, you're not staying in the present. Yeah, okay, so having said all that, I will admire you with grabbing dinner at printer, okay, cool. Now, don't mumble your audition because if you're mumbling it on the copy. So how, after all is said and done, how do you get it out of your mouth with productive use? And this is where, I mean, if there was any intellectual proprietary, whatever, this would be mine. Because I thought to myself, I did all this stuff and I broke it down and I marked it and I'm looking for repeated words. I'm doing all that, you know, is it TV, is it radio? Blah, blah. How am I going to rehearse it in a way that's going to get me to somewhere as opposed to feel as though I'm throwing spaghetti at a wall? So what I did was I actually took the specs and I'd say, okay, a lot of the times, I mean, throw words, you know, they'll use adjectives. And again, by they, the writers, the directors, because they hear it in their head in a way. You're just trying to be the one that they go, oh yeah, that's the one. Because they do, you know, they hear it in a certain way. So the way that they might say, what, friendly, we want to hear it friendly. We want it to be informative. We want it to be conversational. We want it to be, give me another one. So those are the only, what's that?
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott-ish, yeah. Well, that's, yeah. Sam, then they're gonna, and I'll get to those. Thank you for that. Other adjectives. Playfully, you know, be playful. Okay, so I have a bunch of words here that are, usually they're going to put them as adjectives. So I looked at the copy and I had a teacher back in performing arts as well as after PA, and I said, huh, okay, well, he said that you can't play an adjective for real with a you know, it's not going to come out organically or genuinely. So you can change an adjective to an adverb, and somehow it changes you in your speak and your, you know, what you're putting out, and you can play that organically. So if I was like, okay, everybody sit there and look happy, you'd be mugging me. Happy, I'm happy, you know. But if I said sit there happily, you can do that and be organic. It feels different. It just feels like I can sit here happily, you know. It's I'm playing the adverb. So change everything to adverbs. And again, if I sit there, my anger, you know, be angry. Well, that's weird. Sit there angrily. Oh, okay, I can play that. So I take the specs and I change the adjectives to adverbs. So I go, okay, they want me to sound conversational, informative, and, well, friendly is already an adverb. So I'm going to take conversationally, informatively, and friendly, and I'm going to play, in order to use my time wisely, I'm going to take that piece of copy and I'm going to read each one on its own in each adverb. So the entire 30 seconds, I'm just going to go friendly, and I'm going to throw everything else out, and all of my objective is to read it friendly. The second one, informatively. It's just going to come out informatively. Is it going to work for every part of the copy? No, that's not your business. Just read it, because there's a method to this. The next one, conversationally, is if you're just talking to somebody, throw it away. Don't add words and don't ad lib, because I know there was somebody who said they ad lib a little bit. You don't want to do that, particularly in your first read or an audition, unless they tell you to. Or maybe, oh, be playful. Okay, I'm going to read it completely playfully. By the fourth, fifth read, it's all kind of gelled together and it's there in your body. They also have some, if you do it for real, if you commit yourself to that, 2 minutes worth of reading it over and over again, by the fourth or fifth read, it will come together without you even realizing it. Then it's who am I talking to? Why am I saying this? Where am I? And again, be specific. Those are going to be the best tips I can possibly give you in the short amount of time that I have so that I can go, Now, there are 2 other ways that you can practice copy that I don't necessarily teach, but I teach it because I found out about it and I thought, why not? I'll teach it to my students. It's not proprietary. Okay, because there's no intellectual property. So one teacher that I know of teaches her students to, and it works. I've tried this, and there's a time and a place for it. I don't always use it. She says, I think one of them is Nancy Wolfson. She says, read the piece of copy in your head 3 times. No mouthing, no nothing. You just read it the way you would hear it on a commercial. Okay, not faster, not slower. So you have to be able to slow yourself down and read it the way you would hear it on a commercial. After that, after the 3 times, then you read it out loud. The other teacher says, mouth it in the same way. Mouth it 3 times in the, so you're, and you could literally, you take your pauses or whatever it is, but mouth it. So those are 2 other ways to rehearse copy. The only reason that those are, again, kind of not my go-to, and I do use them, but they're never like the first thing I go to usually, is because, again, your mouth is a muscle. And if you're mouthing copy, it's going to come out differently when you're speaking it in a different volume. So it has its place, but it's not necessarily like the be-all, end-all. Does that make sense? Now that I did all that talking, I feel better. I feel like I gave you some information that's useful. Now let's hear you read. And again, rehearse. I urge you to, because usually it's going to be like the 3rd or 4th one anyway, or 5th, probably the 4th one or so that I'm like, wait, So yeah, having, at least you have some tools that you can go, oh yeah, okay. To go home with and be able to direct yourselves, because that would be the point. Because you're not going to have somebody like me usually unless you go, oh my God, I need help on this audition, or whatever. And you also don't want to waste a lot of time. You don't want to sit there for 5-10 minutes, because then you could be over rehearsed and it just kind of loses its. So yeah. Questions, comments, or okay, good. And whoever wants to go first, yay.
I'll take a crack.
Okay, cool.
When I read through the copy, I hear there's 2 distinct ways. So let me just do the one that's probably most common on TV, I guess.
Right. Yes.
Meet Dennis. Dennis likes options. He has 3 hot tubs of varying temperatures. He has 73 portraits of himself. He has a vast array of multi-speed hair dryers for styling. And that's why Dennis likes Grubhub. Grubhub lets him order delivery online for free from thousands of restaurants, making him a man with as many mealtime options as there are stars in the sky. Reach for those stars, Dennis. Have all your favorite foods delivered to you. Search, order, eat on Grubhub.com.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way that they'd ask you to do it. I'm going to probably hand you something else since you're so facile and I'll stick it in the chat window. But
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
that was kind of awesome because you have that voice. Yes. Okay, cool. I'm going to give you something a little bit more challenging. Hang on. Who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Okay, cool.
Mine starts with when, right? It was the second one.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait,
I'm on track that I just want to make sure.
Yes.
All right. When you make it, when you reach the top, join an exclusive country club, acquire exotic automobiles, fill a garage, engage in investment banking, be a venture capitalist. And when it's all said and done, head to a steakhouse. your steakhouse. It's anything but traditional. A double portion of juicy marinated steak loaded with toppings and grilled to go. The new boss wraps, only at Taco Bell.
How do you think you did? Yeah.
I felt in the middle. I was a little off because of
Yeah,
all the
because
different.
you have to see it before you say it. That is almost immediate what I can, you know what I mean? Who read before? Was that Russ? No.
No, I'm Russ. That was Joe.
That's for you for the next one, by the way.
Ah, cool. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you have to commit because yes, it's for a deeper voice. So you want to commit to like when you make it, when you reach the top, like it's kind of over the top a little bit, but it's commit. I think what you need is more commitment.
Okay.
Like, you know, who are you talking to?
I was thinking my wife. Just
see, I would be sitting around with a bunch of guys playing around. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of more like you're joking around when you make it, when you reach the top. Like, even a woman could do it if they were joking around. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, again, not necessarily for your voice, but you know, make it so that it is. But commit to it. Like, it's more, you know, you're hanging out with the boys, you know, talking about like, oh yeah, I'm going to go to, what is it? It's Taco Bell, the new boss wraps. You're telling your friends how good Taco Bell, yeah, let's go grab some Taco Bell. I mean, that's basically what it's like, right? So, you know, you're all sitting around hungry and you're like, I don't know, what should we eat? And then you're like, you know, you stand up in the middle of the room. It's a little, you could do it in a little like of a, you know, like you're mocking it. But when you make a choice, make it big. Or rather you, it not work, and then you get a new choice. Does that make sense?
Well, what did I do then?
Did I
yeah.
Know. It was more like when you make it, when you reach the top, when you know what I mean? It was a little, it sounded a little weaker than, you know, it's playful, don't you think?
I guess since it's Taco Bell.
Yeah.
That's
and
the
they have
idea?
a little, exactly. So like, again, that's your homework. They're kind of like, you know, fun, a little over the top at times. And then, you know, then it's like, when it's all said and done, head to a steakhouse, you're a steakhouse, you know, then you can talk, you know, it's like, again, you're talking to your buddies.
Okay. And just the copy seems a little more serious and more anthemic kind of, you know, in the words, but then you read Taco Bell and it kind of doesn't make sense.
I know.
Like, why are they even going this direction?
Exactly. Because it's fun.
Okay. I'll give
you know, again, you have to, this is all about having fun and making, you know, your viewer, like what's going to engage a viewer? Fun. You know what I mean? Ultimately, when people are watching TV, they want to be engaged. They want to have fun. They want to laugh a lot of times, at least for commercials. It's going to be a more of an uptick as opposed to when, you know. So I urge you to, again, listen to commercials, different times of day, different channels. Absolutely. Try it again, but really commit like you're having a good time with the boys.
When you make it, when you reach the top, join an exclusive country club, acquire exotic automobiles, fill a garage, engage in investment banking, be a venture capitalist. And when it's all said and done, head to a steakhouse. Your steakhouse. It's anything but traditional. A double portion of juicy marinated steak loaded with toppings and grilled to go. The new boss wraps, only at Taco Bell.
That's more like it.
Okay.
Commit even further. Now really talk to one friend, or like, you know what, this one you can actually talk to your group of friends, like you got up in the middle of the room and you're like, you know what I mean? Like I'd say, because again, it's hard to tell how somebody's energy is. So I'm trying to make you go, you know, to like 95 and you're at 65.
Okay.
So like really commit, like you stand up in the middle of the room and be like, when you make it, when you reach the top, you know, like have fun with it. Like super fun. Use your hands.
All right. When you make it, when you reach the top, join an exclusive country club, acquire exotic automobiles, fill a garage, engage in investment banking, be a venture capitalist. And when it's all said and done, head to a steakhouse. Your steakhouse. It's anything but traditional. A double portion of juicy marinated steak loaded with toppings and grilled to go. The new boss wraps, only at Taco Bell.
Way better. Now, the one thing I will say is that at some point you have to kind of flip the switch and go to the, because you don't want it to sound one note, right? So if it's, I think I have it all on here. Let me see. Hang on a second.
Acquire exotic automobiles, fill a garage, engage in investment banking, be a venture capitalist. And when it's all said and done, head to the steakhouse. Head to a steakhouse.
So, you know, mark your copy if it's necessary, if you're having trouble reading. And you want to kind of switch it a little, because if you stay at one note the entire time, the listener's ear is going to get tired. So as a note to everybody, you kind of have to switch it up at that point and be like, when it's all said and done, head to a steakhouse. Like, you know, you might not keep that up with your friends the entire time. You might just be like, give them that for a few lines. And then you go, and when it's all said and done, head to a steakhouse, your steak, you know, and then you go into like just a realistic conversational read. Does that make sense?
Sure.
It'll keep the viewer or the listener more engaged, because otherwise it's almost like hearing one note. So try it one more time with that in mind.
All right. When you make it, when you reach the top, join an exclusive country club, acquire exotic automobiles, fill a garage, engage in investment banking, be a venture capitalist, and when it's all said and done, head to a steakhouse. Your steakhouse. It's anything but traditional. A double portion of juicy marinated steak loaded with toppings and grilled to go. The new boss wraps, only at Taco Bell.
So much better. Just as a note, try not to add a lot of like the laughter in there, like the laughing into words, because it's gonna, with something like this, I mean, you have to kind of know when to do that and when to not do that. Does that make sense? So just be aware of it so that you're not, I just want to see where it is.
Join an exclusive country club.
I don't know why it's not.
Acquire exotic automobiles, fill a garage, engage in investment banking, be a venture capitalist.
Like, be a venture, you know what I mean? Don't worry about making all the little, because this copy is going to be so tight that you won't have time to do that.
Okay.
Some copy, yes, but don't worry about ad-libbing on certain copy that is just not meant to have that happen. Does that make sense?
How do you know this one's not? Just because it would be a quick one?
Yeah, it's pretty wall to wall. I mean, you know, in that way, I'm trying to, for some reason, I'm having trouble. Let's see.
When you make it, when you reach the top, join an exclusive country club.
I don't know why it.
Acquire exotic automobiles, fill a garage, engage in investment banking, be a venture capitalist. And when it's all said and done.
And then, you know, again, attack the copy. And when it's all said and done, you know what I mean? You don't have time to kind of, and when it's all said and done, because we're already at 30, almost 2, so you don't want to do that.
Your steakhouse. Your steakhouse. It's anything but traditional. A double portion of juicy marinated steak.
Now, when you say it's anything but traditional, there'd be no reason to laugh anyway. You know what I mean? Have real thoughts and don't worry about like putting in a laugh here or an ad lib there. Definitely just do what's on that, like follow your intention, not like thinking, oh, I have to add this or add that all the time. It's not necessary because the copy will carry you.
A double portion of juicy marinated steak loaded with toppings.
Sorry, got kicked out or something.
The new boss wraps, only at Taco Bell.
Believable, but again, try to stay away from adding unless you really need to, if that makes any sense. Because it'll take away as opposed to add to it. And yes, listen to commercials because there is a cadence to it. And that's just the way it is. That's how we hear. We don't say, my phone number is 818-8079-695. Like you'd be like, wait, what the frack did she just say? I say 818-807-9695. That's how we listen. You know what I mean? So try to stay within the ballpark of where we are, as opposed to trying to always go out into center field, you know, left field, because it would just, it's almost distracting at times. So just leave it with, you know, rely on the intention and who you're talking to. Who's next? I don't want to run out of time. So I'm like, go. Who?
Janet.
Okay.
Yeah, Janet. All right. Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. Now, is mine? Does mine start with? It's Flipsy Girls.
That's right.
Come on. All right, fine. Is this TV?
Yeah, it's TV and it's like on the Disney Channel.
Okay, but I'm a mature woman.
I know. Okay. It's okay.
All right.
It's high energy. That's all I'm looking for.
Okay. Wow. I don't know. What's this the hardest?
Are you standing?
Okay. I'll put these on in a minute. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. I read it. I did. It's Flipsy Girls, the baby that flips. Hold on. Hold on. I'll do it. I'm going in. It's Flipsy Girls, the babies that flip for you. I love Ziri Cat. Look at that. Zandy's so sweet. Now that's neat. I'm sorry. Zan is super cute in his strawberry suit. Look into their baby eyes, then flip for a girl surprise, for a big girl surprise. Sabrina flips and twirls to a girl. Zoe snug as a bug, then gives bear hugs. I'm sorry. They're the 2-in-1 toys that flip into bundles of joy. You can get your super cute flip zips.
I'll give you an easier one if you want.
Flipsy Girl for $19.99 plus $9.99 processing and handling, and you'll flip for our even bigger Flipsy Girls. I'm losing it. You can log on at flipsygirls.com to get yours. Each sold separately. Must be 18 or older. Oh my God. Yeah,
I'll give you an easier one if you want.
Oh, that sucked that bad.
I'll give you an easier one.
All right.
So could somebody else go while I know what I'm going to give her. So if somebody else,
I'll go.
Who?
Leonard.
Okay.
Leonard.
Okay. I had the Today We Brew Our IPA.
Okay.
Today we brew our IPA. These hops, 6 months on the vine. These brewers, 10 years on the deck. This brewery, decades of days, just like today. There are no shortcuts to Goose IPA. We don't need to be the only beer you drink. We just want to be the best beer. We just want to be the best beer you drink.
Who are you talking to?
I see. I was visualizing it as
Janet, I put it in the window.
What?
Janet,
I was visualizing it as a commercial that I saw on TV quite some time ago for Coors beer, actually, with some guy out in the snow talking about how they're mountain pure crystal streams or whatever.
If it doesn't mean anything to you, it's not going to mean anything to me. So you have to personalize it, no matter what it is. If you're kind of like in general going, oh, and it's about this, blah, blah, no, it boils down to, and keep it simple. I say, just always remember, keep it simple. We're talking about beer. And basically, if you're saying we brew, voiceover is that hyper reality. So it's like, well, we brew our IPA. So you're basically in it and of it. So it's like you're working there, you're a sales rep or whatever it is, but you dig it. Everything nowadays is going to be, if you need to is going to be enthusiastically. There's going to be some form of enthusiasm. You have to become the consummate shopper with this sort of thing. So, you're talking about we brew, you're working out the app. We brew our IPA, these hops, 6 months on the vine. You're talking to a friend that you're like, oh my God, guess what? I'm working at this place and we don't need to, you got to try this beer basically. I mean, boil it down to like the easiest possible. You're sitting in a cool place in wherever, Portland or wherever, hanging out, having a beer with your friend. Oh yeah, man, today we brew our IPA. It's really down, salt of the earth kind of thing. Try it again.
Okay. Today we brew our IPA. These hops, 6 months on the vine. These brewers, 10 years on the deck. This brewery, decades of days, just like today. There are no shortcuts to Goose IPA. We don't need to be the only beer you drink. We just want to be the best beer you drink.
Better. Oh my God, so much better. And were you talking to somebody real?
Sort of.
That's
None of the people I know really drink beer, which is weird for me.
Which is okay, which is fine. So you have to change it to something that is kind of, and again, you're going to come about this all the time. You know, you go into my eyes as, I don't know, a good edible. You know what I mean? Like if I'm being, like if we're talking about this and it's like, yeah, I'll talk about it. It'll go in my eyes as beer. It'll come out in my brain. It'll go filter through my brain as like this cool edible I bought at the pot shop because it's, you know, legal out here, as you LA people know. And then it'll come out my mouth as beer. So I don't love beer, but you know, I'll hang out with people who drink. So and you have to personalize it to a point. You know, it's almost like playing Hamlet. Like we don't expect you to go out and kill somebody just so you can play the role. You have to be able to put the magic if. It's the same thing. Yeah. Substitute it. So try it again and talk to you real. You've had a few glasses of wine. Get down in that way.
Today we brew our IPA. These hops, 6 months on the vine. These brewers, 10 years on the deck. This brewery, decades of days, just like today. There are no shortcuts to Goose IPA. We don't need to be the only beer you drink. We just want to be the best beer you drink.
Way better. But just remember, if you land on your periods, it'll make it stronger. Okay. For example.
Today we brew our IPA. These hops, 6 months on the vine. These brewers, 10 years on the deck. This brewery, decades of days, just like today. There are no shortcuts to Goose IPA.
There are no shortcuts on Goose IPA. You don't want to let, especially on the name, there are no shortcuts to Goose IPA, period. Land on your periods.
We don't need to be the only beer you drink. We just want to be the best beer you drink.
So again, land on your periods and, you know, stay down in where you were from the beginning. So if you're here in the beginning.
Today we brew our IPA. We don't need to be the only beer you drink.
Keep whatever you had in the end, like bookend it, you know what I mean? So that it's the same. But like I liked where you started with because it was kind of down and you know what I mean? Keep that. Want to try it one more time?
Okay. We just lost you there for a little bit during that critique, but I think I got the idea.
Sorry. But do you want to try it one more time?
Sure, I'll go one more.
Try it again.
Today we brew our IPA. These hops, 6 months on the vine. These brewers, 10 years on the deck. This brewery, decades of days, just like today. There are no shortcuts to Goose IPA. We don't need to be the only beer you drink. We just want to be the best beer you drink.
Nice. And again, you know, hold it to the end to real. Like if you're going to talk like that to your friends, then absolutely. But I bought it enough that yes. Who's next?
I'll go.
Okay.
Our veterans are all around us. Neighbors and parents, close friends and complete strangers. Leaders and helping hands. Underdogs and success stories. But it's hard to show our veterans the appreciation they deserve when out of uniform, they're more camouflaged than ever. America, this Veterans Day, let's shine a light on our veterans by changing one light to green, the color of hope and well-being, and keep it glowing every day. Because even if we can't see them, they should always be able to see our support. Visit greenlightavet.com to learn more.
You must have been placed here by, that was awesome. I loved it.
Thank you.
That was really, really, really good.
That was close to home, so you know.
Well, I know that's why and yes, it was this PSA. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, look, it clocks in at 42. I wonder what it would sound like a little faster if you took off a few seconds, but I don't even want to do that. I'm just going to give you another piece of copy because now that I know that you can read. So look for it in a second or two when I whoever's next.
Yes, ma'am.
I guess I'm next.
All right.
From the first moment you met, it was love at first touch. And all you wanted to do was surround them in comfort and protection. That's why only Pampers Swaddlers is the #1 choice of hospitals. To wrap your baby in blanket-like softness and premium protection so that all they feel is love. Wishing you love, sleep, and play. Pampers.
Nice. Okay, hang on. That was me in the background. Okay. I just want to see how long it was. I'm like a weird stickler for time, so okay. Let me just listen back for a sec because I just want to, okay.
From the first moment you met, it was love at first touch. And all you wanted to do was surround them in comfort and protection. That's why only Pampers Swaddlers is the #1 choice of hospitals. To wrap your baby in blanket-like softness and premium protection so that all they feel is love. Wishing you love, sleep, and play. Pampers.
Okay, I know you're capable of more. Wait, let me just put this in for, that was John. Was that John? The who read last?
No, Patrick.
Okay, that's for, well, whoever, yes, who read the, that's for you when we go around again. Patrick, was this Patrick who just read? Yes.
Yeah.
Warm it up a bit. And who are you talking to? Because your voice matches so well. So now you want to add the warmth to it and read a little bit ahead because it sounds a little red. Does that make sense?
No, that's what I always hear. That's why I'm coaching with Dave, to get away from that.
So what? Yeah. So what goes on in your thoughts as you're reading?
Well, I don't have any kids. We've got German Shepherds, but I'm not substituting. I'm talking to my brother at the time when he had his first kid. So
why can't you talk about your pets? They're a little cute too.
Because they don't wear Pampers.
So
actually, Argus did wear Pampers for a while, right after he had the prostate.
They're still your little kids. They're your fur kids.
Oh, they're not little, but well.
But but they're still your, like, whatever it is. You're putting them in their little. I have a little condo for her, and
oh, I do love my niece.
Okay, so again, the same. So yeah, you definitely, well, Dave is right. So you want to read a little bit ahead so it doesn't sound like you're reading. And you definitely, who are you talking to again?
To my brother Kevin. At his house. Right after my niece was born. Because I saw the change in him. So this is perfect for that relationship change.
Right. But I'm trying to make it so that it's more for you as opposed to him. Do you know what I mean? Like, it has to be something like that you feel, again, that's why I'm like, use your pet. Like, why not? So they don't wear Pampers, but if they did have to wear a doggy diaper, which some of them do when they're older, or, if they're trying to try. So I would say, as if you're talking about your pet, try it that way. And read a little bit ahead. Once upon a time. And it has to be all about, what's their name?
What's that?
What's your dog's name?
Lily.
Yeah, it has to be all about Lily.
Lily Bear.
Lily.
Here he is.
Get a prop.
There we go. Hi, Lily Bear.
Wow. Pretty.
You're
She's
so
a dangerous
pretty.
dog tag now, by the way. She is a dangerous dog.
She is dangerous, I can
Yeah,
see.
she is.
Now talk about it as if it's Lily. John. Oh, was this straight talk for John? For John.
Patrick.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was for the last person who read, which was John. Yes. Okay, so try it again, Patrick, you're talking about your dog now.
From the first moment you met, it was love at first touch. And all you wanted to do was surround them in comfort and protection. That's why only Pampers Swaddlers is the #1 choice of hospitals. To wrap your baby in blanket-like softness and premium protection so that all they feel is love. Wishing you love, sleep, and play. Pampers.
Okay, wasn't that 1,000 times better?
I added the technical smile too.
I have one more. Yeah, I have one more note. Yeah, because nobody needs to know whether you have a dog or a cat or what the hell you're. As long as you're infusing it with like, oh, I don't have a kid, but I have a kid at pet, and yeah, I guess they could wear if they had to wear diapers. And so here's a good note for when you have to read like the Pampers stuff and all that. Speak as though, and this is like a little too on the nose, but I say this even if it wasn't about Pampers, as if the baby's sleeping in the next room. It's like from the moment you met, you're trying not to wake. I won't say baby, I'll say toddler now because toddlers wake easier. So you're at the microphone and you don't have to give so much volume because you're telling your friend who you want, oh man, I got these great, big dog diapers, and you kind of lower your, from the moment that you first, so lower your volume as if the toddler's sleeping in the next room. Go.
That's great. Oh, you want me to go one more time?
Oh, yes. Okay. With that note.
From the first moment you met, it was
even lower, like to literally pretend there's a toddler like 5 feet from you sleeping and you don't want to wake them up.
Oh, okay.
Who needs to mute?
Janet.
Janet?
Yeah,
Do you need to mute again? Do we need to impose the Janet rule? From the first moment you met, it was love at first touch. And all you wanted to do was surround them in comfort and protection. That's why only Pampers Swaddlers is the #1 choice of hospitals. To wrap your baby in blanket-like softness and premium protection so that all they feel is love. Wishing you love, sleep, and play. Pampers.
Aha! Sorry, that's the way. There, that's the read. Use it for all of your quieter, kind of softer. Speak as if the toddler's right there and you can't wake them up. Because it'll so much better. And again, reading a little bit of ahead is going to help you break out of that, as if you're reading every single word. But yes, imagining your dog right there, totally fantastic. So much better. I'll give you another piece when we go around. Who else was left? Who? But I gave somebody 2 pieces. Like, yeah, Janet and somebody else.
Janet, Joe, and John.
Yep.
Yes.
3 of us.
Whoever wants to go.
I'll go.
Cool.
I'll just keep the order. Okay. Let me turn my gain down for this one.
It's the biggest Hot Wheels garage ever, and it's full of action. Introducing the Super Ultimate Garage with space for over 140 cars, and it's even big enough to land its jet. Now the race is on. It's going to be close, and you won! Now take the automatic elevator for a victory lap, but watch out. Can you get past the angry gorilla? All right, you took him down. It's Hot Wheels' biggest garage ever, the Super Ultimate Garage. Additional vehicles each sold separately. Batteries not included, adults assembled.
Yeah, you have a great go-to read. You have and really good instincts. So that's a really good announcery kind of read, which they absolutely might use for this. So we'll give that kudos, absolutely. Now I want you to do it like your Uncle John. Like you're getting on the floor playing with them.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it's kind of like it's more because again, I'm just so like you have a take 2 because yes, that's a good announcer straight away. But now if you're like, and I say uncle because when you're a parent, you can't always go full 100% because if you do, then it bites you in the ass because your kids are like, then all of a sudden they think you're friends. So, it's when you're an uncle, you get to do that, and it's like, it's the biggest Hot Wheels garage ever. And it's like, imagine yourself on the floor playing with said kid.
Ah, okay.
Try it again.
It's the biggest Hot Wheels garage ever, and it's full of action. Introducing the Super Ultimate Garage with space for over 140 cars. It's even big enough to land its jet. Huh, now the race is on. It's going to be close. And you won! Now take the automatic elevator for a victory lap, but watch out. Can you get past the angry gorilla? All right, you took him down. It's Hot Wheels' biggest garage ever, the Super Ultimate Garage. Additional vehicles each sold separately. Batteries not included, adult assemble.
Better. And I think you can even go further with it. Who were you, did you have a kid in mind that you were talking to?
Yeah, my nephew, which when he was younger.
When he was, yeah. I mean, it was kind of half there, I think.
It's the biggest Hot Wheels garage ever, and it's full of action. Producing a Super Ultimate.
So dig in a little deeper to it. Like you really want to have fun. And this is, why it's hard, because it takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of oomph, so you had a lot more energy in that first read, but you have to be able to sustain it for a second and third and possibly a fourth, fifth, and 10th read. So, but try it again with that same, it's enthusiasm. It's like you're getting on the floor and you're getting down and dirty. Take your moments, the beats that you sped through. You don't have to know where mark it if you're kind of, because it's a pretty fast read. Try it again, but again, give it 150% that you're hanging out with your nephew, not half.
Okay. It's the biggest Hot Wheels garage ever, and it's full of action. Introducing the Super Ultimate Garage with space for over 140 cars. And it's even big enough to land its jet. Now the race is on. It's going to be close. And you won! And you won! Now take the automatic elevator for a victory lap. But watch out. Can you get past the angry gorilla? All right, you took him down. It's Hot Wheels' biggest garage ever, the Super Ultimate Garage. Additional vehicles each sold separately. Batteries not included, built assemble.
Yeah, see, I like that read.
Yeah.
To me, that's even more interesting than the first read. The first read is, it's great and it's announcery, but, and again, if you were to do it again, I would even ratchet up the energy a little bit more. And really remember how it feels to just get a little crazy. You know what I mean? Now the race is on. It's going to be close. And you won. You know what I mean? Really take each moment, because that's why it's there. It's fun. Let yourself go. Have a good time. Shake out the sillies. Otherwise, it's you're kind of halfway, that was probably 85%. You know what I mean? Which is fine. But again, I thought that was a way more interesting read than the first one. Yeah, 5-year-old me wants some too.
Cool.
Absolutely. Who wants to go? Janet, do the that was really good, by the way. Do the Old Navy, man.
Oh my gosh. Okay, of course.
Are you standing?
No.
Yeah, you have to stand. This is especially for them.
Oh, good. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Sure. How old do you want me to be in?
That it doesn't matter. That's why I just want. It's more for attitude than anything else. That's why I repicked it.
All right. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone. Okay, let's see. I read it. Let's see. Oh God. Let's see. Old Navy. Okay. Well, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
All right, fine. At Old Navy, the big deals don't just stop because Black Friday does. This weekend, get a huge 50% off all sweaters and 50% off all jeans. I'm sorry, just don't, whatever. I'm gonna start again, okay?
Absolutely.
I didn't cut and paste, and I it's hard to read it.
Oh, you're reading it. Got it.
I really am. Yeah, because I'm old. Okay, wait, no, I'm kidding. Okay, here we go. We'll do it again. At Old Navy, the big deals don't just stop because Black Friday does. This weekend, get a huge 50% off all sweaters and 50% off all jeans in stores and online, Saturday and Sunday. That's right. All sweaters and all jeans. All sweaters and all jeans are 50% off all weekend long. The must-get gift at the top of your holiday list are on super sale. Slay the holidays this weekend and with 50% off and sweaters and jeans at Old Navy. Oh my God, I should have cut and pasted it onto something.
Do you want to cut and paste it and have the last?
I do, because I really can't.
Oh, do. Yes.
Okay. Patrick, what's
Who
with that?
was, I put a Straight Talk Wireless one in for somebody and I can't
That
remember.
was me.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
It's time for some straight talk. The big wireless companies lure you in with great coverage, but then charge you a really high price to use their cell towers. Not cool. Straight Talk Wireless uses the same towers, but only charges half. You get the same 4G LTE network, so your phone works in more places for a lot less. It's time to ask yourself, why haven't I switched? Get a Samsung Galaxy S7, or bring your own phone. Unlimited talks, tech, and data. Unlimited talk, text, and data, just $45 a month. No contract. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart.
So good. You have a great instinct. You said you don't have a demo, or you do?
Oh, yes, ma'am, I do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you have a great read. If you were going to give a take 2, what would you do?
You may do a second take?
Yeah.
I might go a little, not cartoonish, but kind of lampoonish a little bit.
Hi.
It's time for some straight talk. The big wireless companies lure you in with great coverage, but then charge you a really high price to use their cell towers. Not cool. Straight Talk Wireless uses the same towers, but only charges half. You get the same 4G LTE network, so your phone works in more places for a lot less. It's time to ask yourself, why haven't I switched? Get a Samsung Galaxy S7 or bring your own phone. Unlimited talk, text, and data, just $45 a month. No contract. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart.
You should have more agents than just Tag. For sure. Yeah, you should definitely be working. You have a great instinct and you have a lot going on there. So you definitely need to have for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Janet, you ready? Yeah, John, you definitely need to have more agents than just Tag.
Okay, here we go. At Old Navy, the big deals don't just stop because Black Friday does. This weekend, get a huge 50% off all sweaters and 50% off all jeans in stores and online Saturday and Sunday. That's right. All sweaters and all jeans are 50% off all weekend long. The must-get gifts at the top of your holiday list are on super sale. Slay the holidays this weekend with 50% off all sweaters and jeans at Old Navy and oldnavy.com. Valid. You know, I never really.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You know, that was a really good high energy read.
Okay.
I mean, it needs to be a little faster, but it was really good. So it's a little slow and you're at like 33 already and you should be able to do this in 30.
Okay.
So try it again with that in mind. And it would be 11:30 to 12:1 in stores only, 12:1 excludes in-store clearance, active and licensed. I mean, that's what, you know what I mean?
Wait, what'd you say? What? I'm sorry. You
the
said
tag will just be like bang, bang, bang. But you don't necessarily have to, but it would be like, look, when you do a tag like that, like it's always lower your voice and just do it in one breath. Who else? Or yes, we have, oh my God, it's already 5:48. Did we get to everybody? I want to say we did. Michael, did we get to everybody? Because I wanted to leave time for questions or, that sort of thing.
I believe we did get to everybody on the list a couple of times even.
All right,
so
cool.
Yeah, I guess this would be just free time to answer questions or post whatever other information that you'd like.
Yeah.
But don't forget also, let us know how we can find you, how we can contact you, the services you offer.
Here's my website. There's my email address, steel@gmail.com. There you go. Unless you really needed a quick, and then some people do, and they'll text me and go, "Oh my God, can you coach me in the?" That's my cell. The 8188079695.
So, Nathan, can we put that information in the description?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Cool.
Yes,
Awesome.
Yes, I can. I'll have it on the lower third.
Thank you very much. All right, so free questions time. So go ahead, whatever questions you'd like to ask.
In the industry, of course. You have me here. Ask.
Do you do local classes since I'm in LA?
Yeah, you know what? I actually, well, I'll teach around like Radio Ranch or Real Voice. I teach like this. You don't even have to
Oh,
get in the car.
okay,
But
cool.
most of my students, unless they're celebrities, and occasionally I'll go to their house. But yeah, it's totally like this because you don't really need to be in person, and it's so much more relaxed for especially people who don't. But yeah, 100% one-on-one. I even
Cool.
make demos this way. Where in LA are you, by the way?
I just moved from Glendale to South Pass.
Oh, right on. Okay, I'm in Toluca Lake, Studio City area.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, so you don't even have to get in your car. Yeah, I find Zoom just way more relaxing and easier. Yeah, totally.
Okay.
I hope I see you. Who else?
Anybody?
Yes. Anybody? Oh my God, you must have some questions.
Actually, I'm going to ask a question about your because I'm
Yeah.
another theater background person. Do you I've also heard occasionally I use singing. I'll sing the copy, and then I'll come back for a fresh take on
I
it.
think that's a really neat way to do it. What makes you do that?
It's when I feel like if I read the copy and I have like an immediate impression, I'll just lay that down. But sometimes I look at it and then I look at the direction and I end up confusing myself because the direction is like, be conversational. And it starts out with, hey, folks. And I'm like, yeah. So I'll sing it and then do a take and then listen back. And it's like, well, that came out kind of conversational. So,
whatever works.
yeah.
Again, as an actor, I say to myself, like, use the magic if. Like, we're not going to be reading things that are normally coming out of our mouths, and it's your job to make it sound real. So you got to kind of lose the like, oh my God, this sounds, and that's called the brat. So the brat is that thing on your shoulder, that like mini, John, mini Russ, mini all of us that go, this sucks. It's like our mini me's that are, I don't want to read this. This is stupid. It's Trump. I don't want to read Donald Trump. I don't want to read Tide. I don't want to read NRA. I don't want to read. And it's just, you have a host of things. You have to become the consummate shopper. So we use the magic if. First of all, admit it. Say, you know what? I'm having this copy sucks. I don't like it. You have to like verbalize it out loud. Throw it out there and be like, this sucks. I don't like it. I need to acknowledge it. You don't want to kill your inner child. You want to just acknowledge it and go. And then the next thing is, how do you pacify that? Well, I don't talk like this. No, you don't. But can you pretend you do? Oh, okay. And then again, the magic if. Hey folks. Well, maybe you'll say, hey folks, just as like you joshing around with your friends. Whatever is going to get you there, if it goes in as Taco Bell and I'm like, I might read it as Taco Bell, filter it through as chocolate cake, and then it comes out my mouth as Taco Bell. So it's the same thing with, whatever it is, acknowledging that, like, I don't want to freaking read this too. Can we just take 30 seconds and would you be okay playing Let's Pretend? All right, I can do that. So that's the job as an actor, to do that. So it's going from the stage to here. So it's the same type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, singing helps. I find that like doing it sometimes fast, singing, or the magic if, whatever we're doing, a rant also helps. Like just literally a 2-minute rant. The fuck, this is so stupid. I don't want to read this. What the frick is going on? I hate reading this kind of copy, blah, blah, blah. Hey folks, it'll give you that energy. It'll give you so you rant. Yeah. That's another Maurice Tobias thing.
Wow. Yeah. Devin, you had one?
Awesome. Who else?
Have you ever booked anything, say, like, I don't know which demos you have, you probably have all of them, but was there ever a time where you maybe started booking explainers, but you didn't have that demo yet? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Yes, absolutely. I didn't start really getting into, I've done some explainer work over the last few years. It's not my typical thing, but just because I haven't marketed myself. And then I fell into an explainer company just a couple of months ago. But yeah, then I figured, I might as well throw out an explainer demo, like I made it my, I had friends that produced it. Not hard to do. And, then you make it eventually along the way. But yes, I'll book work from other demos. Absolutely. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be. And again, explainer demos and narration demos are way easier to put together and way cheaper than commercial demos and promos.
Okay. And you also produce demos too, you said?
I direct, and then I'll produce them with an engineer that I work with down the block. So yes. So like if somebody asks me to do, I'll do their demo if I'm coaching them, and then I work with the guy to produce it, because I don't do I'll edit it with him, but he does all the production. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like co-produced.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I pay him to work with me on that. But yes.
Alyson, if we have agents or we do pay to play or whatever, we're always in a cattle call type of a thing. Yeah. Any tips or tricks on getting the read right, but getting past that first 3 seconds that are so vital?
I know. Don't slate if you don't have to. I never do, unless they make me. I think it's a waste of time. But, again, like, here's the thing. You could have the best read ever, and you still might not book it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get out of your own way in your own head. I mean, that is the fact nowadays. It's it went from being like a small industry like this, and now it's giant, and everybody wants to do it, but you just stay the course. I mean, don't worry about what they're looking for, because then that's always going to get in your head and trip you up. Making doing the work. That's why I said, like, I find it imperative to teach people how to mark their copy, what to look for, and to get out of your own way. Know that you gave the best read possible, and then they're going to listen to it and go, oh yeah, her or him. And a lot of these things are like cattle calls nowadays. So, you're just going, all right, I did the best that I can, and then I'm going to market to every, people who actually like work with me. Because, I'm competing with all of you too. You know what I mean? So it's not easy to book through agents anymore, because they're listening to so many people, and you don't even know if they're listening at, they're listening to 5 different agencies. So a lot of this is going to be marketing. If you want to be nowadays, I would say, if you want to be a voiceover actor, you better like marketing, because that's what you're going to be doing a lot of. That's the unfortunate truth nowadays, even for people like me. So, you get out there, you market yourself. So don't worry about what you try to surmise what they're looking for by doing the work in your, that's why I said, like, what are they really looking for with the repeated words and the specs, and they don't know. They're trying to articulate it by going, be a little happier, sadder, funner, and you're trying to do, in your rehearsal process, so that it all kind of gels together. But after that, you're such a good read. Don't get in your head too much about it. Does that answer the question? I know I went on 5 different tangents.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Can you give us an idea of like the overall picture of how you work accent reduction?
That's the first thing you would do is sing your words, because you end up being speaking General American English, which is we'll say GAE. So like when you listen to somebody like Adele, who has a real thick Cockney accent, but when she sings, she sounds General American. That's the first thing. If you sing your words, that's going to come out General American. The second thing would be, that's one of the ways, copying people, literally copying them. And take somebody like a newscaster, like Lester Lewis, or one of the guys. I always take guys for guys, women for women, just because like we identify. But newscasters who are the national ones, they have usually perfect General American English. Copy them, and if you have a good ear, you'll start to, by copying them by sheer virtue. So a lot of the times, just by copying somebody and doing it, now it's exhausting. But if you could do that for a few hours a day, but don't do it at night because you're too tired, and then everything, don't do it when you drink. You're just going to be too, But if you could do that for a few hours a day, that's going to reduce it. A lot of accent reduction is here. And then there's like a few other, but the first thing I would start with is copying, and that will probably reduce it by like 20%.
All right, thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. Copying and singing, yeah. Who else? Where are you from, by the way?
Texas.
Yeah. It's funny with Texas, because some people have 0 accent, and then other people have a really thick accent. It's
adorable. We have a lot of people from other places here. Yeah,
a lot of it is up here, though. If you start talking to friends, they're going to just be like, why is he talking funny? It's going to screw you up. So a lot of it is up here. I mean, I've reduced some people's accents from Alabama, and then, but it's here because they're chatting with their friends. It's a linguistic, mental, like, It's hard. It's, but you can do it. I mean, I have faith. Like I said, I've changed people's accents and, they dig it because then they can, but when you're around your friends, they might be like, why is he speaking so strangely? And it's a lot of like heavy, and then you're cursing me and you're under your breath, which I can live. I'm all about it.
Did you hear much accent on John?
A slight. And where are you, John?
Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah. I mean, I can hear it, but he can also, I can tell, take it out. Enough. Like he has a little twang going on, but it's like just enough that it doesn't. That's why I didn't mention him, because he takes it out a bit, don't you, John?
I guess so. I know I can dial it up when I need to.
Oh yeah, I can hear that. Yeah, but I get the feeling that John he dials it back enough that it's yeah, but it's accent reduction is very mental.
Yeah.
But yes, I can help you with that for sure. Start copying people. That's your first thing. Anybody else before you all fall asleep? Marketing. Yeah, it's phase 2. After I do somebody's demo, I call that phase 2. It's, getting out there, having the right, tools, your demo, your website, and doing, knowing how to write a decent cover letter, have your resume, or whatever that is, all ready to go in case somebody asks for it. And then, putting it out there to the right people that's going to be, but doing I do a lot of guerrilla marketing myself. I don't use other people. I do it myself, but I do pretty well with the marketing that I do. Yeah. But yes, a lot of it is going to be, first thing, demo and website, and have somebody know, that you trust do those things with you. Get coaches.
Well, Alyson, once again, thank you so much for spending time with us and for sharing with us this information.
So welcome.
It has been really enlightening, absolutely awesome. So I guess this is where we call it. So everybody, we'll see you all next week. Once again, thank you so much, Alyson, for joining us.
Thank you again, guys.
Join us every Monday for free script practice. You can also find the Mic Check on Facebook and Twitter. If you liked what you saw, then subscribe for more.